Good morning to you. Mark Sept with HurricaneTrack.com here with your hurricane outlook and discussion. It's now Friday, September 18th, 2020. I am in Houston, Texas now, and on the road a lot. I'm going to try to make this as quick as I can today because part of it I'm going to be flying home back to North Carolina in just a little while. My colleague Mike is going to stay here with our rental truck. And I'm going to go home and get some more equipment, bring it back tomorrow in anticipation of what would be happening with presumed, is that a word? Presumed, what should be tropical storm, maybe Hurricane Wilfred. Just want to make sure we are prepared. I've got some equipment back home that I can, let me mute this for a second. Got some equipment back home that I can get because we're running low. Got all kinds of stuff spread out. It's been so busy. But we have a good inventory, so I'm going to be flying home today to North Carolina, flying back tomorrow. At least I get to see my family for a little bit before coming back out on the road, where I'm probably going to be for a while. After Wilfred, whenever that ends, we also need to focus on picking up the equipment from Sally, and that includes a very, very important camera system that was on the Fish River, and you've seen the very bad flooding coming out from different sources because of Sally. And of course also we need to watch what's happening with Teddy. Teddy will have some indirect impacts on the east coast of North America, and maybe even some direct impacts depending on what happens with its track. So let's just get on with it, shall we? Like I said, I am in Houston now, but that time is limited, at least for today. Then I'll be back tomorrow and we'll go from there. So here's what we have on the National Hurricane Center homepage. TD number 22, Hurricane Teddy, 130 miles per hour. Probably going to get stronger than that. It's looking pretty good in some of the microwave imagery that I was looking at. A new system that's trying to develop. More than likely, this is going to get upgraded. So this could be Wilfred before this gets to be named, and then this would be Alpha. Wouldn't that be interesting? And then 3 yellow X's that we don't need to worry too much about for the time being. So quickly looking at the information here, the track map for Teddy, potentially making landfall up here in Nova Scotia as a post-tropical hurricane, meaning it would lose its warm core characteristics. It would be a very large, damaging wind field with huge waves coming in. So we'll have to watch this very closely for the Canadian Maritimes. And it's a shame that I cannot get up there for that. Unfortunately, due to COVID and the banning of basically Americans going into Canada, I can't go there as far as I know. I would if I could. Believe me, I'd fly right into Halifax, and this would be incredible to study. But because of the dadgum virus, I can't. So there's that. So anybody that lives up there that's following my work, I know some of you over the years have. I would love to hear from you. You can tell us what's going on. And we'll see. This can change, as you know. It could be more to the west. It could be more to the east. You just never know. So we'll watch this closely. The other thing that's going to happen here with Teddy, it's going to send waves out all along the eastern parts of the land masses, even in the Caribbean, because this is where it is now. And those waves are going to propagate out. So we're going to have big waves. We have a strong high-pressure area that's going to move off the east coast here, and you're going to have northeast winds driving the water as well. That's going to pile up on those waves, and we're going to have some overwash problems. I'll show you that in just a moment. Overwash of the dunes over a pretty large area of the east coast. Big sand problems, beach erosion, etc. That's coming. All right, with TD number 22, maybe this becomes Wilfred, maybe it becomes Alpha. Very tricky forecast. Not going to spend a lot of time on this right now because we just don't really know. Right now and for the next couple of days, sitting out over the Gulf, not really doing much. The Gulf waters are very warm over here, so it has the opportunity to become a hurricane, yes. But we don't need to be focusing on that. Let's learn a lesson recently from Sally, and 3 years ago now from Harvey, that you don't have to have a hurricane to have major problems. And the one thing that I am very concerned about is if this comes in like the GFS is showing and makes landfall and then just kind of dilly-dallies around along the coast, that could be problematic. You don't need me here to tell you that. If you know Texas and you know rainfall and the historic floods that they have had, especially recently, that's the biggest worry that I have. Even without a landfall, strong high pressure generally sitting over the southeast over the next few days is going to drive easterly winds across the Gulf, and the water is going to pile up here as well. And so there's going to be a rise in water levels. Plus, we're in the astronomical high tide and kind of the spring tide season, as it's called. Just not good timing. So we're going to have beach erosion. You think about areas like western Galveston, Bolivar Peninsula, High Island area, maybe the Sargent area. You're going to have problems. Okay, water levels are going to come up. Is it going to be life-threatening and dangerous? Well, I guess if you don't use common sense, it could be. But please keep that in mind, that no matter what this does, the addition of the energy into the ocean over here, the Gulf, will send waves, and then that stiff northeast to easterly flow that's coming, that's just going to exaggerate all of that and result in some coastal flooding issues regardless of what this system eventually does. All right, so the weird satellite issues that we started noticing last night, hopefully this is not fragments of asteroids passing between the GOES satellite, which is something like 22,000 miles above the Earth in a stationary position. I'm just kidding, but it's 2020, so it's either asteroids, small alien ships passing by, or who knows what else, right? No, I'm sure there's some reasonable explanation. It just kind of stinks with the timing that you get these distractive little white tiles, as it were, whatever they are. But there is TD22. Here is Teddy trying to go. It looks like it's going through an eye wall replacement cycle. And that's where an outer eye wall develops, the inner eye wall collapses, the outer eye wall contracts, and it just goes through these cycles. And nobody really knows why. That's true. I mean, we don't know why. They just do. And then we have what's probably going to be a new system out here. Really going to be interesting to see which one of those gets designated as Wilfred first. It would be very... we have not had a Greek name make landfall in the United States. The only other time we went into the Greek letters was 2005. And if this system out here becomes Wilfred today, and then this would be Alpha. We go to the Greek letters, Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, all that kind of stuff. All right, this does not have the alien spaceships going in front of it, so that's good. The vorticity signature of TD22, not bad. Looks like it's concentrating pretty good there, pretty solidly, getting its act together. This is partly the energy left over from Sally and partly this front that's coming through. And strong high pressure is going to build in behind this front out over the Atlantic. And like I said, that's going to lead to some stiff northeast winds. And that's going to cause problems because you're going to get those waves coming out. The swells from Teddy are going to be heading up towards the coast. And I'm telling you, that's going to be problematic. I'll show you in just a... Well, here. Look, they're even mentioning from National Weather Service, Morehead City. You got to remember, ladies and gentlemen, I am trying to teach you about what I do, impacts, what to prepare for, how to think of these systems, to think for yourselves. You know, it's not just the hype and the sensationalism that normally comes, it naturally comes with the word hurricane. I get it. You hear hurricane, you get all worked up. It's the way it's been for hundreds of years, whatever. Ever since we've been over here in these United States, from the founding colonies all the way back to colonial times, the word hurricane, a Carib name, right? And it's, emblematic of like something to be feared or whatever. I get it. But it's not always the hurricanes that cause the problems directly. Indirect impacts, and that's what we're looking at here. 2 to 4 feet of inundation along the North Carolina Outer Banks. And there are other areas. Please use weather.gov. Put in your zip code if you live along the coast from New Jersey the Maryland shore all the way down to the Carolinas. Charleston's going to have some flooding due to this stiff onshore flow and a little bit of that wave energy coming in from Teddy. But high astronomical tides, increasing swell from Hurricane Teddy, and it's expected, as it says there, to be a long duration event, right? So it's going to go through several tide cycles. So this is a big deal. You're going to lose the dunes in some cases, and this is what it looks like. Even though the wheel is spinning, maybe my internet has pooped out here at the hotel. Who knows? There we go. Thank you. This is our permanent nest camera that we have in Rodanthe along the North Carolina Outer Banks. And let me just show you, this is normally what it looks like, if it'll let me do it. Oh, there we go. This is normally what it looks like right here. I'm able to zoom in if it'll cooperate. It's probably not going to because I'm trying to record all of this live as it's happening. But there we go. So that's the normal shot. It's wide, and thanks to the technology here from Nest, I am able to zoom in, and then I can reconfigure and recenter it, and we can look at the water there. And I know it's a little bit pixelated because you're digitally zooming, but Nest does a pretty good job of reinterpolating it, and you get a pretty good feed there. And this is available to all of our Patreon supporters, our HurricaneTrack insiders. I'll tweet these pictures from time to time as well. But these waves are going to get pretty big. These dunes will get overwashed right here, and you're going to see water coming down Seashore. I think that's the name of this road in the coming days. So at least we'll be able to watch that. Let's get rid of that. All right, so back to just a couple things related to TD22. First, look at this. The big hole that was gouged out in Gulf of Mexico sea surface temperatures from Sally, yet they are still at least 27.9 degrees Celsius. So all that purple and blue, as I said yesterday, don't let it fool you, still 81 degrees or warmer. So if you had a hurricane coming out of the Caribbean, just as an example, moving up through here, I'm just saying the water temperatures are cooler, yes, but it would still be enough to sustain that hurricane if the atmosphere allowed. You wouldn't necessarily have one that would come in here and be able to intensify. I don't know, I shouldn't say that, because if the atmosphere aids in the process, 81 degrees Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius is plenty warm. The hurricane would have to be moving. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here, but it's cooled significantly, and that's an amazing thing to see, but not cool enough to say, oh, we don't have to worry about it anymore. And in the meantime, over here, water temperatures are still 29, 30 Celsius. We're talking about 85, 86 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's another reason that I'm concerned if Teddy mills around over here doing whatever, it's just going to pump in deep moisture, and we can have a big rainfall problem. We're going to have to monitor that very closely. And just real quick to give you an idea of the uncertainty here, this is the 12Z track guidance from Levi's site, tropicaltidbits.com, and a pretty good overall consensus that Wilfred to be whatever alpha, who knows, will turn towards the coast. Maybe it comes in near Corpus, maybe further south, don't know. Maybe it bends back around towards the northeast, we don't know. And it's going to be a headache, it's going to be a pain in the butt. But at least it's slow moving. I guess that's a good thing. We got time, but on the other hand, it's just going to make a lot of people nervous because we got to watch it very closely. But it gives me time, like I said, to fly home back to North Carolina, see my family for 12 hours, maybe a little bit more than that, and then fly right back to Houston. I'm going to go get a couple more camera boxes so that we can at least be prepared here in the Houston area and wherever else. It doesn't mean we think it's coming to Houston, but this is just, it's easy to fly in and out of the George Bush Airport. All right, and before I go, I want to show you one more thing. Yesterday, Mike and I went down to look for evidence of what happened to our weather station along the Chopeak Bayou. We also went to Holly Beach trying to find the GoPro camera system and the Nest camera system that had the pressure sensor inside of it down on Holly Beach in the wreckage. And I just wanted to show you, this is what people are going through. This is now 3 weeks after Laura. And, yes, there's going to be wind damage. And no, you do not need to feel sympathy for these people. You need to be empathetic. Understand what they're going through now. Do not judge. All those are not, properly built structures. They're metal. Whatever, man. These people, they live there. They work there. They work in, a lot of them, in the petrochemical industry, which benefits everybody, right? And so this whole idea of people getting bailed out, or it's not too pervasive on my Twitter, but I've seen it elsewhere in social media. But this is the reality. These are our Americans. You see that American flag down there? These are Americans, okay? They have gone through this. This is the third one in 15 years. Rita, Ike, and now Laura. And it's 3 weeks, and it's going to be 3 months, and then a year, and people are still going to be displaced. They're not going to be able to work. A very good friend of mine that works for the Weather Service, his whole life is turned upside down. And it's not from being too close to the water. It's because trees fell on his house and has ruined it. Trees. His roof didn't blow off. He wasn't near storm surge. Whatever. Didn't have a nice beach house. People often besmirch people for living at the beach. These people don't live at the beach. They live near, some of these factories, these industries that produce, come on, give me a break. When people start getting all judgmental, and it's like, well, just wait till a tornado goes through your community. Or a big derecho like what went through Iowa and parts of Ohio, etc. And this is Holly Beach itself. All right? That's what Holly Beach looks like. This was leveled after Rita leveled it. Ike was pretty bad. These areas rebuilt, and they rebuilt 10, 12, 15 feet high for the most part. And this is what it looks like now, people recovering. Let me zoom or skip ahead. Look at the debris. I was looking for our boxes out here. Look how far back the debris line is. Way back here. This is the surge from Laura. This is the storm surge. And this is where I was looking for any evidence of where our camera boxes might be. The drone is able to really do a lot. And you can just look. This is parts of people's houses, and these people work and earn a living and contribute to society. I thought maybe that yellow thing, it's not. It's like some kind of a container. These people contribute to society. There's a birdhouse. Anyway, point is, these are the lives that have been impacted through the hurricane, Laura. And we got to, support these people however we can and not besmirch them on social media. It's real easy behind the keyboard to say whatever's on your mind, but sometimes don't, honestly. These are hardworking Americans, and it's not the time for that. What it's time to do is to support these people, even if you can go on social media and say, hey, I saw whatever, we got you. We're pulling for you. Hang in there. Whatever it is. You see grassroots church groups that come in and help out, relief organizations, etc. But sometimes just saying, I empathize with what you're going through, especially if you've gone through it somewhere else. And the same is going to be true in the aftermath here of Sally. And people are still living it 15 years after Katrina and Rita, etc. Right? So there's my commentary for today. I feel for these people. I make a living because of what they go through. You don't think I feel for them? Of course I do. Look at it that way. Same thing with first responders. They make a living because people have bad days. You have to have empathy for people. And if you don't, then don't pay attention to it is my suggestion. Probably look at something else. Anyway. All right, let me upload this and then get ready to get out of Dodge and go get some more equipment and see what happens here with Wilfred/Alpha. Interesting days ahead. Thanks as always for tuning in. I appreciate it more than you know. I am Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.